Is the backup not in eScribe for this committee?
It is.
Yes,
I got it with an email, but
I also published it, so I'm not sure why it's not in there.
oh yeah, I did get an eScribe workflow notification, so it should be in there, but I just looked at it from the email since it was relatively short.
Yeah, I looked at it from the email, but I'm getting back into eScribe, and I see the for some reason I see that there's nothing since 2021 that I can see. So maybe something's going on, but I just figured I'd bring it up.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm not in eScribe right now, so I'm not sure.
I'll have to look into that. Sorry.
That is okay. So I think we're just waiting for Laura, maybe, and then we should be good to go. Does that sound right to staff?
Laura's
there.
on. Looks like
Oh,
we're
okay.
waiting for, is Councilmember Medina on?
He is not going to be joining us just yet. He messaged that he was going to be running late. So we'll go ahead and get started without Councilmember Medina. I just need to get back to my agenda, which I was just looking at. I mean, I know the first thing we need to do is approve minutes. So, but just confirming from staff, though, we have everyone we need staff-wise. It looks like it to me. Okay, awesome. So, and we have Councilmember Murillo, Councilmember Marcano. So do we have any changes to the minutes? All right, then those will stand approved. Or sorry, I should say, we're calling the meeting to order for the PR Plus committee for January of 2023. And so first order of business is approval of the minutes. I had requested changes, seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. And then we will go ahead and have staff present on the recap of the committee for 2022.
Great. Good afternoon, Chair Coombs, Council members, Laura Perry, Deputy City Manager. Stephanie, would you mind sharing your screen?
Give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Did I lose everybody, or are we?
What was that, Councilmember Marcano?
There we go. I was wondering if I lost everybody for a second. I think I had like a little bit of a lag spike. We're good. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. So the Public Relations, Communications, Tourism, Libraries, Boards and Commissions, and Citizens Group Policy Committee had a full year last year. We kicked off the year with annual reports from the Aurora Fox as well as a recap of 2021 and the work that the committee did. And in addition to that, heard a presentation from the Veterans Affairs Commission regarding a resolution expressing support to conduct biannual public hearings. In February, we did not have a meeting, and then March continued with annual reports from the Historic Preservation Commission. Heard from Kim and her team regarding the 2022 marketing campaign, and then also the committee discussed a resolution approving funding to restore needed public art funding for the ghost trolley along Colfax. In April, we worked through the special events calendar for the year and heard a presentation from pros on that, as well as the annual report from the Aurora Youth Commission. If you can scroll down for me, Stephanie. In May, we worked with, heard from Visit Aurora on their marketing plan for 2022, heard from the Aurora Commission for Older Adults on their annual report, heard a presentation from the clerk's office regarding the update of term limits for certain boards and commissions, and then appointed our poet laureate, Asia Fox. In June, we heard 2 annual reports from the Veterans Affairs Commission and the Human Relations Commission, and then also the Land Acknowledgement Resolution was brought forward to the committee as well. In July, we heard the update from our Cultural Affairs Commission, their annual report, as well as an update from the clerk's office on boards and commissions. In August, we heard from the Immigrant and Refugee Commission with their annual report, as well as heard a presentation on the proposal for a new cultural center in the city of Aurora. In September, the CNAC Dam Site Historic Landmark nomination came forward to the committee for consideration. And then our final meeting was held in November with the Art and Public Places Commission annual report, a report from the Library Board, and then we heard from the Aurora Public Library on their proposal to expand hours in 2023, which began earlier this month. And then that was the final meeting for November. Any questions on the work of the committee in 2022?
I do not have any, but thank you for just providing the recap for us. Are there any questions from other council members? Councilmember Murillo, Councilmember Marcano, and also do we have Councilmember Medina at this point? It looks like we still do not. So Councilmember Murillo.
I don't have any questions on the past work. Looking forward to getting to know more about the full scope of the group. I know there's just so much under here. But yeah, thanks for the recap.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilmember Murillo. Councilmember Marcano.
No comments from me. Looks like it was a full year, and hopefully we'll have another one of those this year.
Absolutely. So thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. And then we will move on to the next item, which is approving the proposed schedule for board and commission presentations for 2023.
Stephanie, can you share on this one as well, or would you like me to share? Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. So for 2023, so Councilmember Maria, you had a great question about the breadth of the policy committee and the work we do. The committee does hear annual reports from all of the various commissions in the city regarding their work, their goals, their successes. And so what this calendar shows is a proposed schedule for council members to consider for the year in terms of when the various boards and commissions would come and present their annual report. This has been a pretty routine calendar for these folks. They typically come around these timeframes, but we wanted to share with you by month what we've outlined as a starting place for the year. And then most importantly, hear from you. Are there other groups that you would like reports from on this committee? And we can certainly work with them to get them slated on the agenda in one of the months to come forward to you all.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, as you said, I think this looks like our pretty standard calendar of reports. So aside from reports, I guess some of the things that I'm wondering about as far as what we might see is the cultural affairs plan, and an update on that. And I would leave that to staff as to when you think is going to make the most sense to bring that. I think continued discussion about a performing arts venue. And then also if we can get some updates and information about DAVA and about the space on the 14th and Dallas space as well, and just kind of programming within the Colfax corridor. So maybe ACAD as well, in addition to DAVA, could come and do a presentation. So those are things that come to mind for me immediately. And then if there's any other conversations we need to have about public art beyond the Arts and Public Places Commission presentation, then I assume those will come as needed. If we can get also an update on the Parker Road Bridge public art piece. So that's all for me. Councilmember Murillo.
Yeah, thanks. I guess just am responding to that last bit. Do we have like especially if we deal with the public art aspect of different projects, like does the city have like a directory of like Aurora based artists, people, vendors that we use for different art and like their medium. I feel like well, I guess I could say a lot about how I feel about that, but I'm curious, do we have anything like that, like a resource like to that effect?
I can look into that. Midori Clark is on, but she looks like she's having technical difficulties right now. But I can follow up on your question regarding the directory. Would you like to hear a presentation from the Art and Public Places program, just a little bit more in depth sort of about their program and how they procure art and the process? Would that be of value?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
I just want to pipe in for a second.
Oh, thank you, Midori.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like trying to get on. We do have a collection guide that it's the comprehensive listing of every piece that is in the public art collection. So I'd be happy to send that along to you. They wrote it pretty recently, and it includes like QR codes that you can scan if you'd like to know a little bit more about the piece and the artists, etc. Probably didn't answer the whole question, but that is what I could remember.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess at this point that was kind of like my initial reaction to the topics. I know for other committees I've been on, we have a like a document that's tracked kind of the topics and the things we've talked about in the committee over the past like several years. I know we have this list for last year, but do we have that for prior years? That might be helpful just to get a better sense of other topics we might be able to include. I mean, I could like go through each, agenda packet, but that would save a little bit of time if that's possible.
Absolutely. We can compile that for you. We have past years information and can certainly work with you on any questions you have once you receive that.
Okay, great.
All right, and then I remembered one other thing. If we can hear from the Aurora History Museum and the collections committee folks, as well as get an update about the collection and collection storage, because I know there was recently a flood. There's been some other flooding issues. So if we can just kind of hear from them and have a conversation with them about the collection and needs around supporting and preserving the collection. So add that, and then I will pass it off to Councilmember Marcano for anything else you would like to add.
Nope, I don't have anything else to add at the moment, but I did toss the link into chat. So
I don't know if it's appropriate, but could I also make a suggestion for something that I think is interesting, but maybe you may or may not want to hear about, but I think is really cool. And thank you for bringing up the arts plan, because yes, we really want to talk about the arts plan when that's completed as well. I think something that's really interesting to hear about that we don't often hear about, because we don't have a board or a commission that's directly linked to it, is our arts education. So just learning about how many classes a year that we offer on pottery, dance, theater, staged combat, visual arts, etc. Just kind of learning a little bit about the data of how many classes are offered, what the classes are, how many students are participating, where the classes are taking place. We have a lot of after-school arts programming as well. So if that's of interest, I would just like to offer that as a suggestion as well, if you're interested.
That's a great idea. And actually, I don't think that I asked in this committee, which I did ask last year from the pros committee, is just the relationship of any of the programming to youth violence prevention and what the role is of the cultural affairs division, including the libraries, in youth violence prevention programming and efforts in the city. So I think that would also be related, to that education piece. So maybe that could all come together, if that makes sense, or separately. You want to do that at a different time.
We could certainly kind of address the cultural services piece and how we kind of activate that secondary prevention, or that secondary kind of response for youth violence. We'd be happy to incorporate that into the presentation.
Okay, excellent. That is wonderful. All right, any further questions, ideas, thoughts from anyone else who has not spoken? We definitely can take ideas from staff as well, in addition to council members.
Councilmember Coombs, it's Kim Stewart. May I have a moment?
Absolutely.
Thanks. Appreciate the opening. As we did last year, I would love to be able to spend a few minutes with you all, updating you on the on our marketing plan for the year as well.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, that's something that we typically do. And I think we certainly should do that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other recommendations, comments on this topic? All right, seeing none. I forgot to ask for announcements at the beginning of the meeting. So does anyone have any announcements about upcoming programming, or any other announcements for the good of the order?
There's no raise your hand feature in WIP. So I'll just, is it okay if I start?
Yes, please go ahead and hop in.
Okay, I am really excited that our show Acts of Faith opened last weekend at the Fox Theater. Would really invite anybody to check out this one-woman show about a woman who grows up in South Africa and has some struggles with her church and her faith leader, and it's the story of how she kind of moves through her life and continues on a successful path. It's received excellent reviews. It's a very I think moving show, and hope that you will all check that out. I also want to say, in relation to our arts plan, we had our first community input session last night at the Fox. We had 20 people show up, which was great, but we'd love to have even more people show up at our next public input session. Would welcome you to be there, or if you could share with your constituents that will be taking place at the Talons Reach Library on February 1st at 5:30 p.m. We would love to have all citizens who care about the future of culture and art in the city of Aurora show up to provide their input to the facilitator who's been hired to lead that program. And we'll have pizza. So dinner and an opportunity to provide your input. We would really be excited to see members of the public and any members of council there as well. Thank you.
I also had a quick update. So I was trying to share, and I'm not sure, I'm not very skilled at it with WebEx, but I'm jumping ahead of our marketing update to you all. We had an opportunity late in the year. It was very fortuitous. We're doing a really terrific mural and a strong presence at Stanley, because we know that a lot of folks from around the area, not just Aurora, but metro area, outstate, who are a couple of our very specific local audiences in our marketing work, come. So we're going to be doing murals, history wall on one of the walls. Both of those for 2 to 5 years, they'll be up. And then we're going to be marking all of the catwalks and the stairwells with the World in a City, our marketing campaign, and materials in multiple languages. And one of the really neat things about the mural, which is massive, is we are having a Braille plaque put on it. So people will have an interpretive of what is on the plaque and why. And then another additional sign about the artist and our working with her in this collaboration and what the inspiration is. So we think it really represents Aurora nicely, and it's going to be really fun to walk through the doors there and see that. So if I can figure out how to share this, I tried to put it in the chat and it just gave me a lot of code. So
Ryan, I can share my screen if you want.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Ryan.
Bye. Okay, hang on.
Yep.
Well, actually,
Alright.
Stephanie, can you give me sharing privileges?
I've got it up if you want to do that way too.
Sorry, hold on 1 second. Okay.
Okay, stand by.
Hey, Ryan.
All right, you should be able to see it. This is from our one of our folks yesterday who was out there working with the artist. But that's the artist, and that's the mural behind. So Kim, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah. So anyway, it's right as you walk in the front door by the coffee house and across from Denver Biscuit Company. Usually that's full of chairs and couches and places where people hang out. And so we just really think it's a fun way to represent Aurora and the great diversity, the rich diversity we have as a community. So these are all individual faces of a female representing different countries, different ethnicities, that all are about the power and being who you are. So that's what will be in some of the interpretive signage, but we're pretty happy working with Allie. She's great. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really exciting and looking forward to seeing that. Do we have any other announcement? Okay, seeing none, our next meeting will be February 22nd at 3:30 p.m. Does that work for everybody? Okay, great.
Yep.
Well, then, thank you all so much for your time today. And I will look forward to seeing you all soon. Hope you have a great rest of your week and take care.
Take care,
Stay
y'all.
warm. Be
Bye.
well.
Yes,
Bye.
stay warm.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.